Welcome back to Schwartz on Sports. It's Ozone, it's Ryder, and we're ready to rock and roll. Talking college football, Week 3 recap, our Week 4 spread picks, and of course, talking about the Jackson Dart-led Giants. Ozone, I'll start off with you. James Franklin falls to 1-18 versus top 10 Big Ten opponents. What's your take on that loss?
Great program, horrible big game coach. How many times can Penn State fans sit there and watch him do the post game, post conference and say, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to take this one. Dude, you take every big game in Happy Valley, you lose. Super frustrating, right? What do you think?
Yeah, look, I was never super high on Penn State. I mean, they beat nobody coming in. They're still a good football program. But look, the record says what the record says. 1-18, you can't win the big games, and that's a big problem. He's a great recruiter. He builds a team well. They have studs to the draft every year, but it's an ongoing issue. This team's not going to win a national championship under this coach. It's evidently clear.
No. And I think everybody, any draft guy, any quarterback hawk out there, you may have seen the next NFL stud, Dante Moore. Put that name in the back of your head. Ripped apart the Penn State defense. This
Rip them
guy
apart.
has 14 touchdowns, 1 interception this year. I think he had some type of. I think I would look last night where his QBR rating was something like 185. Can you even be that high? I don't even know what that number is. But he is a stud. UCLA guy, went to Oregon now. Looks like he's playing under a much better coach. But yeah, instant Heisman watch.
100%. Alabama upsets Georgia. A few weeks ago, this team had lost to FSU, who was unranked at the time. Everybody was calling for the coach's job, and now they beat number 5 Georgia. How impactful is that win for Alabama as a whole? Just the morale after losing Nick Saban and having a rough start to the year.
When we talk about home teams and home game streaks, you have the Penn State streak at 1-18. On the other side, you have the Georgia streak of just dominance at home. Beating Georgia at home is something to tip your cap at. That is a monster win. Not many people beat
Monster.
Georgia at home. Uh, I watched that game. I watched the Alabama defense. Georgia was driving for either a tie or a win. Alabama knew they had to stop them before they got at the field goal range. Man, they buckled down. Their defense was nasty. I think that was a huge win because I think for the first time since Saban's left the program, you could say Alabama's back.
Yeah,
Boom.
100%. 100%. I was listening to Craig Carton's show. I don't know why. I was on my way to the mall, but I was listening to him, and he called it. He said Ole Miss is going to pound down on LSU. Lane Kiffin's daughter apparently is dating the middle linebacker for LSU. Lane Kiffin despises LSU. It'd be a major win to win that game. He called it. I thought he was crazy. Ole Miss pounded down LSU. Pounded them down.
The craziest thing you said is you listen to the Craig Carton show?
I don't. But it was my first time. Probably my last.
You know, he got started in New York. I got a whole story about him. He's an interesting cat. Yeah, I saw that. Didn't Lane actually say take the over? So, speaking of Lane Kiffin, exactly, that's another huge upset yesterday. And I think that's a great segue, Schwartz on Sports, for our NFL talk. You always worry, and we'll finish up the podcast on the Giant game, but you always worry about a quarterback that does really well in college for a coach that knows how to coach quarterbacks.
Yep.
Right? He made this guy, I was reading this morning, he made this guy, wasn't even the starter. He wasn't even the starter, came in and beat LSU. So, first of all, shame on LSU for not being able to run the ball. How they can't run the ball, I don't know. But yeah, Lane Kiffin showed that he could take a backup quarterback and beat a top team in the country.
Yeah. Look, Lane Kiffin people wanted him to go coach the Jets a few years ago. I mean, he's an excellent coach, especially offensively. And that is the worry. Can Jackson Dart be a good NFL quarterback without a guy like Lane Kiffin manipulating his offense for him? All right, a few games, week 3, I just wanted to touch on, and then we'll move to our spread picks. A few games that I thought were pretty impactful watch. We had Lions Ravens. So the Lions out physical them, they outran them, and I think there's a big, really kind of cheat code when you're playing teams like the Ravens and you're playing teams like the Bills. The key is get their offense off the field, and the Lions did a great job of that. And the Lions really showed you that those Montgomery and Gibbs, those are two lethal running backs.
All right, let's call it the way we see it. I think you're 100%. I think you feel good about the Lions. You probably overreacted that first game, right? Lions look a lot like the Lions. We got to be honest about Baltimore. Can we start to see chinks on the Baltimore's armor? Yes, we can. And I think what you keep on seeing with Baltimore, and I don't want to be redundant on them, Lamar Jackson, big game, mistakes. Defense can't stop anybody. You're not going to win anything when you have a quarterback that makes big game mistakes, defense that can't stop anybody. So they've gone down a significant notch in my eyes. Okay, coach, but I think I'm going to start to question the coach as, is he a all-time really good coach, but is he a great coach? That's up for debate. They've had A+ talent the past 5 years, right?
Yeah, and especially ever since they lost McDonald, the defensive coordinator, went to Seattle, their defense has just been dead last. I mean, right now they're dead last in yards per game. So that's really holding them back. Um, the only other game I'd like to touch on for
Then
week
I'll get
3,
100%.
the only other game that I'd like to touch on for week 3 would be the Chargers Broncos game. So the Chargers gave up 5 sacks. Are you there?
Dude, look at me, I'm frozen. See that?
Can't even see anything. My freaking internet is.
Can you
All right.
see me?
I can't even see right now. Hold up. All right, let me. I went inside now. Maybe that'll be better. All right.
Oh, now. This is better. Can you hear me?
Internet. I can definitely hear you. Right now
You
it
don't have to
says
see.
I.
You don't have to
What is
see
it?
me. As long as you can hear me.
Let's do it. Where were we? Where were we?
We're going to week Broncos and let's go, kid. Broncos Chargers.
Broncos Chargers recording. I bet. So the Broncos sacked Justin Herbert 5 times, and right now the players out for the year. The right tackle hurt. He allowed 9 pressures. Becton is in concussion protocol. So the offensive line for the Chargers looked very weak against the Broncos. The defense played well, but you saw something from Bo Nix. You had receivers down the field open multiple times, and Bo Nix overthrew him. He couldn't connect. So that attests to the fact that Bo Nix isn't a great downfield passer. And I don't know if you saw, Justin Herbert made some incredible, incredible throws, some Patrick Mahomes-esque throws. So I thought that Justin Herbert's really showing you why he's an MVP candidate. The offensive line, definitely something to worry about. It's a weakness for the Chargers. And I think Bo Nix might not be the great player that he was last year. I mean, he was missing some very wide open passes down the field.
Nobody's talking about. Nobody's talking about the young quarterbacks that are taking major steps back. Forget about Bo
Major.
Nix. Look at C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud looks like. I mean, if you didn't have that rookie season for C.J. Stroud, you'd think about benching him right
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm always going to jump to defend CJ Stroud. I mean, look, does he look pretty bad right now? Yes, but I'll always come to the fact that the offensive line stinks. I mean, the offensive line's awful right now. They have no running game. Joe Mixon's hurt. They're relying on beat up Nick Chubb. And look at their, I mean, Tank Dell. Dude, Tank Dell was like his Malik Neighbors, his guy, and he does not have a Tank Dell anymore. And that really hurts. They lost Stephon Diggs, so they lost a lot of pieces. So I just think that, I wouldn't jump the gun on him yet. He looks awful right now, but don't jump the gun just yet. Don't jump the gun.
No, not bad defense. I mean, listen, they still have Nico Harris. That's still, I mean, they were trying to move on from Mixon anyway. Mixon was kind of a beat up back. I'm not giving him as many breaks as you are because I've also looked at Tunsil. Everybody's thinking the Tunsil move is a big move. He stinks at Washington. So again, I look at, and again, I'm an old defensive guy, and I've always tell my friends who fall in love with quarterbacks early, the difference between year one and year two is that whole defensive group has got a book on this quarterback, and now they know they're looking at every game he didn't play well in, every time a team schemed him well, and it just becomes that. I mean, even the great Jaden Daniels doesn't look as good this year as he did last year, and I would put him as the cream of the crop as rookie quarterback. So it's not easy. Like I think the Bo Nix stands out, and listen, Bo Nix you worry about a little bit because they draft him higher than you thought he would have gone. Like Bo Nix was a okay to good college quarterback. Was not a freaking star, right? So could you see him coming back to earth? Was he a lot of Sean Payton? I think he was.
100%. I mean, I give all his last year. I credit that to Sean Payton. And you hit that spot on. They have more film on these kids now. Second year, look at Cliff Kingsbury. Everywhere he goes, his second year, it's a regression. And that's because they figure him out. He goes to a new place. First year is great, progresses. And it's pretty easy to figure these guys out after you have a year of film on them. I think this will bring us into the week 4 betting odds. We have a game in Dublin, Ireland. Vikings, Steelers. Vikings are going to be 2.5-point favorites. Carson Wentz at the helm. Who are you taking here?
Man, how come you have different lines than me? I have. Let me make sure my lines are updated, my friend. I have them. But you're right. Current spread is 2.5 Vikings, so they're taking the Vikings by a field goal. This is a tough one for me. I'm betting against. Can I see Aaron Rodgers? Well, they're both 2-1. You're asking me to say, can I see Carson Wentz beat Aaron Rodgers? Normally, I would say you're absolutely crazy, but I actually think maybe they do. I might take Minnesota.
Yeah, this is, I mean, look, Carson Wentz pretty good against that Bengals defense. Granted, they probably have a pretty crappy defense, but anyone's going to look good with Kevin O'Connell, even Carson Wentz, who was once an MVP caliber player. But I'm taking the Steelers here. I don't know necessarily if this team's going to be 9-8 again. I don't know if Mike Tomlin really has them under the grasp he did the prior years. But the Steelers' defense is legit. They have legit talent. And, like it's overseas. Carson Wentz, you can never trust him. Turnovers. I'll take the Aaron Rodgers led Steelers here. I could see them covering the spread easily or losing by a point. So I'll take the Steelers. This one's pretty awful. Saints at Bills. Bills are going to be minus 14.5. They were 15.5. It's creeping up. Now it's 14.5. Who are you taking there?
I mean, my God, that's a big line. 14.5. Saints stink. That's a 2 touchdown line, though. Usually 2 touchdown lines don't make it, but it's in Buffalo, too. Give me Buffalo. I'm going to roll with Buffalo. I'm going to roll with Buffalo and the points.
Give me Buffalo too. I took the Saints last week to cover against the Seahawks. That did not work out well for me, so I'm not doing that again this week. And look, could I see this game being 30-13, 14? 100%. 100%. Spencer Rattler on the road, first-year head coach. I'm not trusting that. This is 100% a game where the Bills are just going to pound down on them. I'll take them to cover the spread. We got Chargers, Giants. We're going to be talking about more later, but 6.5 on the road in New York right now.
I've done this in the past year. So what I'm doing now is I'm a Giant fan. The show knows that. So what do? I take the Giants all the time. And I lose. So I am not taking the Giants against any number until they actually prove they can win. I think they beat the Cowboy number, if I'm right. Uh, I'm going to have to take the Chargers. I'm going to have to take the Chargers and the points here. And I'll get to why, but the Charger defense scares me today. I wish Jackson Dart had a different defense to go up against in this defense.
Could I see this game being 38-13? They just decimate us 100%.
Easily, easily.
But I'm not taking the Chargers in this one. I'm taking the Giants. And like I said, I'll get to that why later. But I think this Chargers offensive line has big vulnerability. Jackson Dart, no film on this kid. Energy, excitement. I'm going to take the Giants to cover. Not necessarily to win. I have
All
a
right,
good
since
feeling
we're
about
on
this
it,
one,
we
though.
might as well keep on talking about it. So here's your real reason: is if the Giant defense was a good defense, I'd say the Giants have a chance. You brought up the Baltimore defense. The Giants have the second worst defense in the league right now. You understand that? By points and yards. So this is, I actually think, the opposite on you. I think this is the game that gets the defensive coordinator fired. That's it.
I'm not going to say that's impossible. Justin Herbert's a stud. They got three legit wide receiver ones. Johnson, McConkey, and Keenan Allen's revived his career. I'm not going to be surprised if this team drops 40 on us. Like, that could very well happen. I just don't see that happening. Look, Becton, concussion. Right tackle, the backup one, out. He lit up 9 pressures. This offensive line is very weak. 5 sacks, one game. You're telling me that Brian Burns was 4 sacks on the year and Abdul Carter, Kayvon, Dexter,
That's
you're
all we
telling me they're
have.
not going to wreck the game?
But the problem is that's all we have. If you look at the Giant, that's why I'm so down on this Giant defense. If you look at this Giant defense, how many sacks does Burns have? Nothing. He doesn't even get pressure, and they're running him as the middle linebacker now instead of Michael Parsons, instead of Michael McFadden. Right? Thibodeau. We talked about it. He's a bust. Now you got a one-man motor in Brian Burns, but I can tell you right now, it's easy to take one guy out of the picture. The other thing that's really alarming is Dexy has not one sack this year, and their center Bozeman is a All-Pro center. So yeah, that's your problem. Your problem is when you really break down, like on paper, we have a great defense. That's what bothers me. On the field, we get run over, and we don't really we really don't rush the passer. Like when I look at um, all the guys, that one game, yeah. And Burns is our guy, so I don't know. And plus, like you said, Herbert is showing everybody this year, this dude's an A-plus talent. Like you said early in the show. I remember when he first got in the pros, a lot of guys, a lot of player personnel guys said, forget Patrick Mahomes. They've never seen a guy throw the ball like Herbert.
Yep.
I remember one personnel guy said, you can actually hear Herbert's ball fly. It's going so fast with rotational spin. He's like, I've never heard it. It like hums when he throws it. So yeah, I've always been the greatest arm in pro football right now is Justin Herbert, hands down. I'll take
Hands
his
down.
gun. I'll take his gun over even Josh Allen. You just got to keep this guy. I mean, he was getting killed. So I love that team and that defense. I've been a Derwin James fan. He was my fantasy safety for years. He is as nasty as that's the last guy you want to go against as a rookie quarterback.
This is by far, matchup for Jackson Dart. By far. It's the best defense in the NFL, the most talented defense. Offensively for the Giants, the only thing that has me thinking that they can even come close to this spread is the unexpectancy of Jackson Dart. The dual threat ability of him, and along with Cam Scatterbo being the actual running back one.
Well, I think that helps us.
And
I mean,
Andrew Thomas can be playing the entire game.
Andrew Thomas is playing the entire game. But the problem is you're seeing everything. You're looking at the same stuff I have. He's not gonna, in my eyes, he's not gonna be able. He'll take care of Khalil Mack, whoever's coming on that side. I think it's Dupree they have rushing, which is good. But the problem is the rest of our line stinks. Like and that's what kills me is we have the worst interior line in the league. That is 2 guards and center. How the heck are you supposed to run the ball if you have the worst interior? Like thank God for Scatterbo being an absolute beast. And my God,
Yeah.
I mean that's another thing is to stay in the Giants. A lot of guys are talking about do you fire Dable but keep Schoen? And I'm starting to
Yes.
think
Yes.
some of
Yes.
the drafts are pretty good. Like if you
Yes.
start looking at some of the drafts are pretty good.
Yes. Yes. Shane missed on Hyatt. He missed on probably Thibodeau, but Thibodeau looks very good this year. He missed on Evan Neal. Probably missed on John Michael Smith. He has a lot of misses in his first 2 drafts. But you got to take a look at these last 2 drafts. He might not have a miss. Have a miss. Tyrone Tracy, 5th round. Bo, 5th round. Scottaboo, 4th round. He voted the 4th round. I mean, he has some electrifying picks. I mean, that guy, Drew Phillips, he is not great in coverage yet. That will come a time. But if you look at the way Drew Phillips hits and the way he tackles, his moxie, his intensity, Drew Phillips has the potential to be an Xavier McKinney level player. He is that good. And he's getting these guys in the 3rd, 4th round.
Can
So
we?
Shane,
Listen,
I would keep Shane.
I love your passion, my friend. Can we be honest with ourselves though? Nobody's taken a step back more than Drew Phillips. Jesus, what game did I watch where he was getting burnt all over the field? What game was
He
that?
he was getting smoked in the Chiefs game, but
Yes, all over the field. It was almost embarrassing. All over the field. Absolutely getting burnt and then massive PI calls.
he was having some bad, like, it was a very up and down game. It wasn't an awful game because you take a look at some of the plays in the backfield he makes And like
No,
when
but I
you
like him. I
need to
like him.
tackle, yeah, exactly. I think
No, I
it's
do like
that's
him.
development. He'll come with time. He'll come with time.
And I can tell you right now, we talked about earlier, Cordell Float is a better D back than Banks. 100%.
Missed on Banks too. He has some big misses, and he let
Banks
Barkley
is a
go and
huge
McKinney
miss.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's ups and downs with Shane, but his roster construction, there's talent on this team. You can't deny that. There's talent on this team. So I wouldn't necessarily put him down the road just yet. All right, let's keep it pushing. We got Commanders Falcons. So I had two pretty decent calls last week. I said Panthers beat the Falcons. Obviously, they took the Lions. The Falcons, something's wrong there. They got too much talent to be this bad, especially they spent two first round picks on defense this year. They got Bijan, Drake, so many first round picks. Might be the coach. I know you're not too high on him. They're going to be favored 1.5 at home versus the Commanders, and Jaden Daniels is good to go. No Terry McLaurin.
Wait a minute now. What line are you getting? I'm getting the Commander's favorite. Why did that line shift so much? Is
And
it
oh,
because
you
of,
know what? I think Daniels actually. That's why Daniels not playing.
so the line started with thinking Daniels was going to play. Now it's
That's what I'm
Falcons by
seeing.
2.5 or Washington's. I have Washington giving 2.5. Falcons favored by 2.5. Is that what you have?
I have Falcons minus 1.5 on here, but I mean, I'll look it up. Double check. All right.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I got to take the Redskins. I think the Falcons stink. All right. I think Drew Pennick stinks. All right. Let me get out. Let me get out and ahead of this. Let me get out ahead of this from the show. I think Penix stinks. Would I be surprised if you saw, why they're not trading Kirk Cousins? It's because they don't trust him.
Don't trust him.
He's not that good. Did you watch him the other day? He's not that good.
Penix had a pretty bad game. Look, I don't want to say that he's a bust just yet. I don't think he's that good. I'm not I don't think him, Bo Nix, McCarthy. I don't think those players are that good. Williams. It was an overhyped QB class, but I'm not going to jump the gun. But he looked pretty awful against that Panthers defense. Looked pretty awful. So I'm taking the Commanders. I'm with you. Look, if you watch the game, Mariota still got some juice. He's
Dude,
not
let
a
me
good
tell you something.
quarterback, but he got juice.
I can tell you, my buddy mine's a DC a fan, and we are going back and forth. Mariota's no doubt the best backup quarterback in the league. I mean, and I could even you could definitely, I don't even know why he's not starting. Like, I'm looking at some of these things, like, why is he not starting on some teams?
100%. I don't know why. I mean, the Bengals call up and trade for him. I mean, there's various teams that you could argue that. I mean, the Dolphins. Imagine the Dolphins. How explosive they'd be if you put Mariota in there instead of Tua.
Oh my
They'd
God.
be they'd be so explosive.
Plus, I don't know if you know, but historically, he's like one of the best locker room guys on the planet. Like, everybody loves him.
I mean, I'll take the Commanders here. They got some vets on defense. I trust them, and Debo's gonna have a big game. All right, this game I love. I don't know why it's not prime time, but we got Buccaneers Eagles in Tampa Bay. Eagles minus 3.5, and I think it's because Mike Evans is hurt. And although Baker and Chris Godwin are playing, they were questionable. So some injuries there for the Buccaneers. But they do get their left
Yep.
tackle back, Tristan Wirfs.
I get the Eagles by 3.5 too. Give me the Bucks.
I'm with
You
you.
heard it here.
I'm with you. Give me the Bucks too. The Bucks win these type of games. I'm high on the Bucks right now. I think the Bucks could compete to win the NFC along with the
Well,
Packers and Lions.
by talking to me on this show, there's probably no quarterback I love more than Baker Mayfield. I can make an argument that if you just looked at his numbers the last 3 years, he's a top 5 quarterback, no doubt, no doubt. Last 3 years. No, I'm not talking about the first 4 years. Uh, and let's be honest with ourselves. If you're a player, is there a quarterback you want leading your team any more than Baker Mayfield? No, no. His guys will absolutely kill for him. I
Kill
also
for
think
him.
that Tampa defense is tough against the run. Uh, I think they're going to shut down the tush push or give it a tough time. So yeah, give me the Bucks. I think they're on a roll.
Baker
Rookie.
Mayfield leads the NFL in passing touchdowns since 2023.
They get that. There's my case in point.
That's it.
And he's just. I mean, the intangibles he brings with his just, I would call it, desire to win is off the charts.
Off the charts.
Off the
And
charts, dude.
that defense, Winfield, all pro safety,
Defense
Oh,
is old though, dude. I mean, Levante David is still doing it. I mean, Levante David, dude. Just to let you know, he's been doing that middle since you were living in Connecticut. Okay, that's how long he's been manning that middle. How the hell he's still doing it, I don't know. Vita Vega, but what they do is they have kind of that old school Baltimore, a stud at each level. Stud on the defensive line, even though they lost a major guy to injury, a stud at linebacker, and then they got a stud in the defensive backfield. So you got a kind of a guy at each level. I like him a lot. Uh, and again, love Baker. I'll take Baker over pretty much anybody.
we got Browns taking a trip to Detroit. The Browns, field goal blocked. Defense is legit. The coach, I love Stefanski. They're gonna be 9.5 point underdogs. Lions are gonna be favored 9.5 at home.
Let me tell you something. I love Stefanski. I lost big on that freaking game last week. Who the hell thought that was going to happen?
No one.
I actually did. I have the Browns to cover on our thing. I don't know. I got to go back. I don't write our picks down when we do it. I might have had the Browns to cover on that big line. Um, I'm going to take the Browns to cover again.
I can't do that. I'm taking the Lions here. The Lions beat up on bad teams. I don't think the Browns. Joe Flacco is not going to be able to manage, I guess, if you will, on this level. And I think the Browns defense is it probably one of the best in the NFL. But when you're off, when you're on the field that much and your offense stinks,
Where's
we
this
see this
game?
all the time. This game's in Detroit.
All right, no, I'll go Detroit then. I take the Browns if it was in Cleveland or if the line was over 11. But maybe that's probably. Let me see. I feel like Detroit is moving, but the Browns are tough though, dude.
Browns are
But
tough.
I do think the Detroit offense is definitely a notch above the Green Bay offense.
Yeah, and that's what Detroit does. They smash bad teams, and they might not, but I think they will at least win by more than 9.5. All right, we got Panthers, New England. Both defenses kind of stink. We saw the Panthers shut team out last week, though. This is gonna be an offensive game. New England 5.5 at home.
It's another guy I don't like. I watched him last week. Jake May's another guy. I mean, you can tell the talent's there. Does he look like he's a great quarterback? No. I mean, this is a battle of quarterback bust. I hate to say. Where's the game in New England? That's a big line. I could say that's a tough one to call. It's a toss up.
I'll take the Panthers. I'll take the Panthers. Look, I'm not necessarily gonna call Young a bust just yet. I think if you give him look, both these quarterbacks, they stink when there's pressure. They stink. So if you just give him a good O line, he's showing you he can do some things, and I like the coach. I like Dave Canales. I know I don't think you're too high on him, but I like him. And Chuba Hubbard, I have him fantasy, good running back. I'll take the Panthers to at least cover. I mean, that's a 5.5 point line. I'm taking the Panthers here.
Okay. I might go on the other side. Like I'm a Vrabel guy. Um, I do feel like in New England stumbling compared to, but listen, these are both 1 and 2 teams. Again, nobody wants to go 1 and 3. This is really a toss up. I'll go New England just to take the other side, but this could go either way. To be honest, it could go either way in my book. 4.5 is kind of a good line for that. Could this be a 20s, 27, 20, 21, 24, 20 game? Yeah, easy.
Could be. Titans are going to be taking a trip to Houston, who's favored 7.5. Cam
Loser game.
Ward, C.J. Stroud, loser game, awful game.
Just to show you what the Vegas thinks about this, your over under is 39. All right, so they're literally telling you this is a 39-point over under. They're literally telling you there's going to be no points scored. This is going to be a shit show. So, I mean, I'll take the. I have such a hard time taking the Texans with the 7-point lead, with the 7-point spread because they both suck. But again, I do think the strength of the Houston team is their defense. I think Cam Ward is going through a typical rookie on a shitty team. What can you do? You're a rookie on a shitty team, right? You got no running back. You got one receiver. Your defense is okay. Give me Houston at home and the points.
I'll take the Titans here. Do I think this game could be a get right game, which is well needed for the Houston Texans? 100%. I mean, they're 0-3. This is a battle. I'm pretty sure a battle of 0-3 football teams. Both
These are
football
0
teams
3. So, I
stink.
mean, I feel like that's kind of where this is where I feel like Houston can Tennessee go 0 3, 0 4? Yeah, they can. They got a rookie quarterback. Can Houston go 0 4 with D'Amico Ryans, who's a stud up and coming coach? You got a stud. If they go 0-4, you're going to start getting the old fire the coach.
Yep.
Period.
Period.
I
I'm
think
taking.
actually
Yeah.
now that I take Houston big in this game, I think they're going to play for the coach. They know they have to win this game.
I'm gonna take Houston to win, but I'm not taking them to cover. I mean, look, Cam Ward's in a dome here. I think there's like I said, a lot of unexpectancy with the rookie quarterback. I think that he could have a decent game, and I think it's gonna be low scoring. I think it's going to be a low scoring affair. It's a divisional game. And I don't think the Texans are offensively sound enough right now to go and beat down on a team. And I might be proved wrong, but I'll take the Titans here. Jaguars on the road in San Francisco. Brock Purdy will play this game. -3.5 for the Niners.
Give me San Fran. Jaguars still suck. Jaguars are a shaky 2-1. Listen, give San Fran credit. 3-0. Injuries galore. Kittle down. Purdy down. Fucking everybody and their brother down. My God, this team. Give me the Niners. I think Purdy gives them a boost. Are the Jaguars good? No, they're not that good. And they're
So
going. That's a weird line, though, to be honest with you, Ryder. When I look at lines that smell, why does that line smell? Jacksonville's traveling to San Fran. San Fran's getting back their starting quarterback. They're the better team. And the line actually moved down from 4.5 to 3.5. Why?
here's why. Nick Bosa, ACL. As soon as I looked into this game, Purdy wasn't
We
playing.
knew
I
that,
said,
though. We knew that go before that first line was set. Do you follow me?
oh yeah, I thought I said Jaguars are gonna win this game. Then Purdy comes in, and I started to think, okay, Kyle Shanahan's a great coach. It takes coaching to have your team 3-0 when you have that many injuries. Look at what the Jaguars have been able to do, though. The Jaguars' offense looks pretty darn good. They should have beaten the Bengals. They beat the Texans. I don't think the Jaguars are that bad of a football team. I think Liam Cohen's a great coach. I'm taking the Jaguars here. Look, ETN's been a monster this year. Hunter's been kind of a disappointment, but you still have Brian Thomas Jr., another stud from LSU last year. This defense, they got Josh Hines Allen in the backfield. This Jaguars team has talent everywhere. The problem was, can Trevor Lawrence play football? And do they have a coach? They have the coach now. The question is, can Trevor Lawrence just be good enough? This Niners team, are they that good? Who have they beaten? The Saints? Barely? Look, I get the injuries, but this Niners team's not that good besides their coach. Coaching is the only reason why they're even favored here.
So listen, if your use case is the Jaguars have beaten a winless Houston team and a Bengals team that lost Burrow, and I would immediately ratchet them. That's a tough one to go on. I go back to, will I take the coach of San Fran over Jacksonville every day? What's my view on Trevor Lawrence? I've had him twice as a fantasy quarterback, once as a starter, once as a backup. He is an absolute disaster.
Trevor Lawrence is in the number one overall pick that we said he was going to be. He isn't that good. But when it comes down to, I mean, dude, ETN's playing, he's reviving his career right now. He got 270 rushing yards. There's this guy, Jordan Lewis, 2 interceptions on the year so far. This team has just, they're playing for Liam Cohen. And Liam Cohen has an offensive mind that I think could become a top 10 offensive mind coach. I'm taking the Jaguars here. You'll see. Jaguars are going to cover the spread.
Okay.
Colts, Daniel Jones, 3-0, taking a trip to Los Angeles, 3.5 for the Rams. Who are you taking here?
This is where it gets serious. Because this is the first time DJ's taken on what I would consider a serious team at home. If he can take on and beat the Rams at home with that Rams defense, oh my God. If he can beat the Rams, Colts immediately become a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Like, as crazy as that sounds.
This game's really hard because you're telling me this is what the line says. If the Rams win by a field goal, 23-20, 27-24, Colts are still covering here. And which is tough because both teams have great defenses, great coaches, pretty good offenses. Puka Nakua's legit.
I mean, listen, you asking me, I'm going to go with Sean McVay. I got to just go level up. Sean McVay over Steichen. I'm going to take McVay every day.
I'm taking
Stafford
the
over
Rams.
Jonesy, right? Stafford over Jonesy. I'm taking that every day. Rams defense over Colts defense. Colts defense is not that great. Like I know that Colts defense, they played shitty teams, and I think what they do is they're smart. They play very complimentary football in that team. They ball control the offense well, and they hold the ball. So what does that do? That rests the defense. So defense is always, I mean, people don't understand as an ex-defensive player like you play defense, right? Fast three and outs on an offense are a defensive killer. If you have an offense that goes in quick three and outs and your defense isn't given time to rest and coach up, you're dead. You're dead.
Dead. That's the problem with the Giants do. Look, I'm taking the Rams here as well. Puka Nacua is the top 5 receiver in the NFL. Puka Nacua might be the best receiver in the NFL. I was listening to Mike Francesca. He said he wouldn't take another guy over Puka Nacua. And they got Devontae Adams on the other side. And Kyron
How
Williams.
you listen to Francesca now? Do you subscribe to the app?
I just throw him on YouTube. I say Mike Francesca, and then he pops up. That's all for free.
He's the Godfather kid. That's how I learned everything I know. It was Mike and the Mad Dog was how I learned. Mike's a little full of himself, but he knows his stuff, no
He
doubt.
knows his stuff. He knows his stuff, exactly. So I'll take the Rams here at home. The Rams offense, they should have lost that game last week. Their defense sold. They should not have lost that game. They were pounding the Eagles down. They were smashing the Eagles. I was so happy until they freaking sold. They should have won that game. It wasn't for the field goal block. But I'll take the Rams here.
Hey, is that the actual background of your house, or is that a fake background?
Fake background.
I
Fake
was going to look
background,
like. I was
baby.
going to say, man, you guys are clean. Um,
Nah. Yeah. We got Bears. They're going to be 1.5 point favorites.
well, let's see. I mean, this is weird. This is so in my head. I'm doing the old. Has Caleb Williams found himself versus I love Pete Carroll and I can't see him going 1-3. That's kind of where my head's at. Games in Vegas. Bears won, but remember, we got fired up when the Giants beat the Cowboys. What happened the next week? Got them.
Exactly.
Our heads smashed in. I'm going to take the Raiders.
So, is this a get-right game for the Raiders where they can really get on track? Or is it Caleb Williams' momentum is going to keep carrying on?
That's a good question.
And you look at, look, Pete Carroll is Hall of Fame coach. But you look at and Chip Kelly's a great offensive coordinator. Look at this offensive line. This is the worst. It's worse than the Giants. It is the worst offensive line. Ashton Jeanty, 144 rush yards on the year, 145 yards after contact.
Dude, I saw that.
You saw that?
I saw a stat that said that it was basically yards after catch, yards after contact, and Ashton Jeanty had some weird stat of 102% of his yards after contact. They're like, how'd that number come? They're like, because he's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage. They're like, he's actually. I was like, that is insane. Listen, he's a great kid. There's no doubt he's going to be a star in this league. No doubt. But yeah, that is crazy. Bad
So the
offensive
offensive
line.
line is awful.
I mean, here's the thing, though. They just got, in my eyes, they have more. Gino's a better quarterback. I mean, he just is at this stage of his career. They've got some pretty good weapons. Like, I'm surprised they're just not pumping the ball to Brock Bowers. Like, Brock Bowers is such a beast. You could literally win a game just pumping the ball to him.
Look, I was high on the Raiders. I took them to cover against the Chargers week 1 Monday Night Football, or week 2, whenever they played them. It's week 2. So I'm high on them. I like the talent they have. Brock Bowers, Geno Smith laid an egg in that Chargers game, and aside from that Patriots win, this team looked awful. And this defense isn't that good. Defense stinks besides Max
Well,
Crosby.
here's what I think. Now you got me on. Here's what worries me about the Chicago team. Chicago in the past couple of years has had a pretty good defense. I don't know what's happened, but their defense sucks now. And I'm not talking sucks. I'm talking brutal. I don't know if they lost a defensive coordinator. I got to look into that. I don't know if they lost. I know they lost Roquan Smith a couple of years ago, but that shouldn't be still there.
Well, I think that one of the big components is when you put in an offensive-minded coach, especially in his first year, the defense is going to take a step back. Think about Ben Johnson's priorities right now. Fixing Caleb Williams. Think about the amount of pressure he has right now to fix Caleb Williams. All these folks on the offense. So that's putting a lot of pressure on the defensive coordinator who probably, quite frankly, is not that good. And you went from Matt Eberflus, who awful head coach, probably a pretty bad defensive coordinator. Cowboys stink, but a defensive-minded coach. So there's going to be a lot less focus and intentional practice on the defense when you bring Ben Johnson in, especially in the first year. I think that's what it is.
No, I think you're right. That's why I don't. That's I think why I don't like the Bears this weekend because I think that they're kind of like that. At least for a while, they had that identity where you knew you'd run into a tough defense, and the offense sucked. Now you're like the defense sucks, and I don't know about the offense. The offense is very might be good this weekend, might not be good this weekend. Not really sure.
Yeah, I'll take the Bears here because I think they got some momentum going for them. But this could be a toss-up game. I mean, the line's 1.5 either way, so it's a toss-up game. This could be a great game. Ravens at Chiefs. Both teams 1-2. It's crazy. One of these teams is going to be a 1-3 football team. Ravens 2.5-point favorites on the road in Arrowhead. 425.
Well, I got to look at what we've seen recently, and it looks to me like now, I think if I'm right, Worthy comes back, which I think is going to be huge because they got that field stretcher. I mean, without going too deep into it, give me the Chiefs.
Chiefs for me
I,
too. Thornton's a stud down the field they picked up, cut by the Patriots. Worthy's back. The defense for the Chiefs is really, really, really good. Defense for the
yep.
Ravens is the worst in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, you're telling me he's not going to slice down their throats and win this game at home? Yes, they are.
Listen, I mean, I think Cleveland also threw a book out. That's right. Cleveland threw the book out a couple weeks ago, and I'm wondering if that's starting to work. Where even though Cleveland lost, they held Henry and Jackson to like 30 yards rushing. And I was like, wait a minute now. And you know what we just talked about? Once the team sees that, everybody's going to look at that team tape and say, how the hell did you do that? Because if you can stop the Ravens running game, they suck. They suck.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, moving on to the Sunday night football game. I do not know what is going to be more embarrassing. Because if you recall, a few years ago, Packers came in, Jordan Love as a 7 seed and smashed the Cowboys in the playoffs, who were a 2 seed. That was pretty embarrassing, and I love to see it. Now, Packers come back to Dallas as 6.5-point favorites, and I 100% will take them. Micah Parsons returns. The Packers are going to legitimately hammer the Cowboys. What's going to be more embarrassing? I think the playoff game, but I don't know.
I never want to. This is where you get yourself in trouble, young Jedi. Because this is where in Vegas you start to say to yourself, wow, this game looks too good to be true. Revenge game, bup, 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 bup. Just put that in the back of your head. Everything makes sense for this to be a Packers blowout. Huge loss last week. Micah Parsons. Jordan Love wants to go out there and throw 3, 4 touchdowns. I'm trying to bring up a scenario where the Cowboys can stop them. I don't think I can.
I know. I'm with you here. I was kind of just thinking like, could Jerry Jones, could the Cowboys win this one? Maybe. I mean, but then I was thinking this defense is awful. No CeeDee Lamb. Run game is pretty mid. And look, this is a 6.5-point line, not 11.5. You're gonna tell me 27-20? I mean, I'll take that any day of the week, at least 100%.
Yeah, I see that. Uh, it's going to be. Listen, I'm not going to be able to. I obviously think Packers are going to win. I'm just trying to
Yeah,
think
yeah,
how do they keep this close? Now again, I mean, I think Jordan Love's my fantasy quarterback, so I'm hoping he goes for 4 touchdowns.
yeah. I mean, the only way I'd see them keeping it remotely close if somehow this defense plays better, but then again, no CeeDee Lamb. The offense is the strength for the Cowboys, and you're going against the Packers D, so I don't see it
Well,
happening, but it could.
I'll go Mike Francesa on you. This is something Mike would say. What can the Cowboys mimic off the Cleveland defense and how they played last week? That's all they're going to do. Is they're going to look at those Cleveland tapes and say, all right, did they go 7 man in the box? What did they do? Did they play a different type of defense where they just throttled him at the line of scrimmage? That's what they're going to try to do. Can they do it? That's a whole different question.
We'll see. We'll see tonight. That's Dolphins, another 0-3 versus 0-3 team. Dolphins minus 2.5-point favorites.
Part of me says, is Justin Fields playing?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. You're closer to this Miami team than me. I feel everybody was like, "Yeah, McDaniel, he's getting fired." I have actually felt like the team has played fairly good defense for him. I mean, they played their ass off against Buffalo. Should have had that game, all right? Team should be 2-1. What are they? 1-2?
0-3. They should be 2-1. You're exactly right. Should have been the Patriots. Tua hadn't thrown
They,
that pick.
right, right. They had the Patriot game, right? So I don't know if the team's given up on him. It's funny. I just picked up that backup running back that's supposedly the goal line specialist for you.
Yep.
He's a big dude.
Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, Ollie Gordon. Like I just think McDaniel's like God. He has a lot of talent there. I mean, he's still got a lot of talent on that roster. Uh, and dude, the Jets are the Jets. Give me the Dolphins.
Give me the Dolphins. Look, I don't think the Jets are that bad. I mean, I think Justin Fields playing this team could be explosive. I think Aaron Glenn's probably not a head coach. You'll see that.
Yep.
Runs chances too much. I don't think he's a head coach, to be honest with you. The defense isn't that good for the Jets. Almost came back against the Bucks, but couldn't. Give me the Dolphins. Their offense is explosive. The Dolphins, here's the thing. But the question is, who needs it more? And the answer is the Dolphins. The Dolphins need it more. Mike
Dolphins.
McDaniels need it more.
McDaniels
So,
needs to save his job. Like you always look at, those are great tests to see. Like if a team loves a coach, they're going to fight for him to keep his job. If they don't, they're going to throw the white flag and let him get fired. And I've seen them fight for him. Like if the team looks like they love him. I think the toughest thing with McDaniel is Tyreek Hill reminds you of Antonio Brown, right? He's just a tough dude. And this is where you got to be a strong head coach. Like what did Andy Reid do? Andy Reid said, "Guess what? You're out. You're out, dude."
it's hard dealing with those players. I would not know what it's like. I do not want to. I mean, those type of guys, even OBJ, who might not have been as OBJ was awful on the sideline, but with the domestic abuse stuff and just the on-field nonsense, it's hard
Very
to deal
tough.
with a guy like that. But look, the talent, if Tua can just get him the ball, and Waddle and A-Chain, like you said, this team has a lot of talent. They do. Bengals on the road in Denver, who's going to be 8.5-point favorites. This is the second Monday Night Football game. They're doing a doubleheader here. Again, the Bengals looked awful against the Vikings. They got the backup quarterback Browning, and who we said was going to be good. We thought it. He looked good when they
Well,
beat the Jaguars, but
let's go all in on here. Let's go all in. The Bengals look so bad. I'm not going to take the Bengals against any team because what you know with the Bengals is this: Burrow kept that team alive, just being an absolute stud. That defense sucks, can't hold anybody. So now you got the worst case scenario of a shitty defense and a shitty offense.
exactly.
Your worst case scenario. I feel so bad for the Bengals because when they're good, they're great, but they're not good all the time. They're not good when they need to be good.
So I was thinking, quick side note on the Bengals. I was thinking, what are the most sorry fan bases? Jets are up there. Browns are up there. Gotta be one of the most sorry teams. I feel awful for them. First of all, they got the cheapest owner in the NFL. Cheapest owner in the NFL. They've never been good. And the moment they have a legendary generational quarterback and two wonderful receivers, can't fix the defense. They barely pay their best player, and everything just crumbles right back down to where it started. I feel super bad for them, but they're an awful football team. Give me the Broncos here. Sean Payton's going to decimate this team at home. And look, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, they're getting vividly upset. Could you see, even with Burrow upset with the defense, could you see some sort of roster trade reconstruction here? I think you could.
I've already heard one, and I think it's smart. Would you trade Trey Hendrickson to the Niners for picks right now? Yes. Yes.
Yes, and
Right.
another one. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I think I would start. I mean, think about it. If you're San Fran, you do that and you load up next year. You could have Bosa and Hendrickson on the same line. Holy shit!
Yes. The answer is yes. And another one is, and I was thinking about this before Burrow went down. I said, you just paid T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. You
I
paid T.
dump one of
Higgins.
them. I would dump one of them. I wouldn't dump Jamar because I think they're too close, but I would dump T Higgins.
You paid him wide receiver one money. You can't pay anyone on the defense. I said, why don't you trade T. Higgins to a team that needs a receiver, get a few picks, maybe a mediocre edge rusher, and just stack up there? You don't need T. Higgins there. Maybe
I
get a
mean,
running
can you
back there.
imagine? I'll give you an example, but you're not going to get a high enough draft pick for him. Can you imagine T. Higgins on Buffalo? Oh my God. T. Higgins on Buffalo had 15 touchdowns. Josh Allen be pounding him in the end zone. I mean, he'd be crazy. I mean, amazing. Think of something like that. I tell you another one. If you're freaking Green Bay, you don't have a big receiver. I would package freaking Wicks, Watson in a first round draft pick. Give me T. Higgins,
I mean, you just gave two, I think the two best examples. And
right?
would you trade? What would you trade a third
A third person off
pick?
that team.
No, a
I
third
mean,
round. Let's say
listen,
third round pick.
would I trade T. Higgins for a third round pick? As you're asking me?
Bills. Would you trade a third round pick for T Higgins?
No. If I am um if I'm Cincinnati, I need more than a third round pick from T. Higgins. T. Higgins is a big time player. Like if I'm Cincinnati, I might not be able to get a one, but I definitely need a two. At a minimum, I'm getting. And you can make it legitimate. He's a top 15 receiver. I need a two, and I probably need a player. There's no way I'm giving him for a three. Yeah, Jacoby Myers is a third round draft pick. Give you an example. That's a third.
I don't know if I'm with you there. I mean, DK Metcalf went for a second. DK Metcalf is a better receiver than T Higgins. T Higgins is good. He's a big downfield threat. He's a good receiver, but you got to remember he's got a lot of injury problems. It's hard for him to stay on the field. I don't know if I wouldn't give a second round pick for T. You can get a
I
stud
don't
in the
know. I
second round.
don't know how much better DK Metcalf is than T Higgins. I've had this conversation because I had this conversation around Terry McLaurin. I put them all in the same category, to be honest with you. And I think T Higgins might skew higher because I think T Higgins might be younger. He might be 2 years younger.
No, I'm pretty sure he is younger. I think you're right about that.
Right? So age means a lot. No, I like him a lot. I like him a lot. Um, no, it's
Yeah,
funny. It's funny how DK didn't get a. I think they didn't get a one for DK because they were just trying to move him out of town.
yeah, yeah.
Like
Fair
I'm
point.
surprised. I'm surprised. Like I always thought you should definitely get him one for.
Fair point. All right. Well, let's wrap it up by talking quickly on the Giants. So, the Giants make the decision to bring Jackson Dart in. Brian Daboll, if you watch the press conferences pretty recently, he's been kind of, I guess, if you will, airing the organization's dirty laundry, if you will.
Give me an example. I missed it.
For instance, every time it's asked, whose decision was this? He's saying it's my decision. He's kind of isolating himself from the organization. And a lot of people are coming out and saying, okay, this is because he's not safe and he knows Shane is. So he's trying to distance himself from Shane. He's trying to distance himself from everybody within the organization right now. I have a pretty crappy feeling about this whole thing. Go back to what happened with Wink Martindale, that separation. That was disgusting. I don't think when Dable is about ready to get kicked out the door that he's a classy guy about it. I don't feel that energy right now. And the biggest question is right now, putting Jackson Dart in, the last chance that Daboll has at saving his job, was he just saying, all right, my job is more important, I'm going to throw the kid in. Got to remember, you're putting him up against the Chargers. 1 week later, you have the Saints. 1 week later, the entire offseason, we said, Russell Wilson's our guy. Russell Wilson, we want to be patient. That was the leak a few weeks ago. And all of a sudden, when you're 0-3, when Daboll's about to get kicked out the door, he throws Jackson Dart in. So the big headline this week is this cry from Dayball, try and save his job, or is Jackson Dart actually ready?
So I'll give you what the New York media is taking on this. It's a combination of a couple things. And I think it all starts with Russell Wilson, goal line, Giant Stadium last week. It just got so bad in Giants land, whether it, whether it was, bench Russell, Art Jackson, like they said, visually it looks so bad. I think Dable, like a lot of guys are saying internally, did senior management force Dable into this? Meaning they just couldn't have another weekend of that. Now, to what you said, there's enough. So you have one train of thought was it was so bad last week they had to make a change. It just became very apparent to every Giant fan Russell can't do it. then you get the other side. You get the other side, which is what you said, which is, and I think I heard Francesca say this. This is his. How did they put it? One guy said it great on the radio. He goes, Dable's a cat. He has 9 lives. He's already lost 8 of them. This is his 9th life. This is it. He has his 9th. He's a cat. This is it. He has one last life. It's Jackson Dart. And like a lot of guys said, he set himself in a bad situation because if he loses this week and if he loses next week against New Orleans, that could be the nail. Then they're saying the sub on that is if they lose both games, but Jackson Dart looks like he can handle it versus lose 2 games and it looks like he is completely over his head. That subtlety could also be a defining factor, right? Loses 2 games, but throws 3 touchdowns, looks better, team looks better. You might look, but if they get blown out in these 2 games, he is gone. So that's a long way of saying cat with 8 lives. This is his 9th life, Ryder. He doesn't have another life after this.
2 more things I'll let you get out of here. Number one is, and this is what I've heard as well, is Russell Wilson was that bad. But everyone's saying, you pay Jameis Winston. Why aren't you putting Jameis Winston in, who is going to electrocute the stadium? And then you put Dart in a few weeks later, you buy Dart more time, and you don't stick him in against the most vicious defense in the NFL.
I'm going to give you a long take on this. First of all, they talked about in detail when they did this. They never looked at Jameis Winston as a starter. And if you look at how they did it, they always looked at Jameis Winston as Russell's backup because they signed Jameis before they drafted Jackson. So that whole thing got messed up. But I think that's interesting. The interesting thing they brought up this week in New York I thought was very interesting, which was if you ran the preseason camp, and didn't award the starting job to Russell, and you just looked at how good quarterbacks played, Jackson would have been your starter. So a lot of guys are saying the guy that looked the best with the first team offense was always Jackson. Now, they didn't want to start him, so they're trying to get you under the thing of maybe he does better than you think he does. Right? But that a lot of guys are saying that, which is he actually would have. They're not saying would have been a slam dunk, but if you had an open quarterback competition, there would be a good shot that he would have been the starter.
So I'm 100% with you there, and Jackson Dart's going to come in. Jackson Dart's going to play. I think there's a legit chance the Giants win this game. I said it. I'm taking the Giants to cover. I'm not going to come out and say this is a loss. I think the Giants have a chance here. I think Jackson Dart is a legit NFL quarterback. But here's what I'll say. The Giants have made the playoffs 2 times since our Super Bowl win. We were one of the most well-renowned organizations, the gold standard of football in the NFL, 4 Super Bowls. Ever since the laughing stock of the NFL. And who's to blame? Here's what I'll say. The one person to blame is John. And here is why. It all starts with this. You fire Tom Coughlin. Number one, never should have fired Tom Coughlin. Never should have fired him. Then you come into the situation, you draft Daniel Jones. You fire Pat Shurmur the first year of Daniel Jones' career. What do? You ruin Daniel Jones because you give him instability and you give him coach after coach after coach. Then you elect a new regime to come in. You have them pay Daniel Jones. Then you say, okay, I'm going to let you draft your guy. If Dable is fired this year, it's a never-ending cycle. You're going to ruin Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart's career depends on Dable's job. Dable needs to keep his job. And I'm telling you right now, if Dable's fired, Jackson Dart is going to be a bust and he's going to be a nothing. The only chance Jackson Dart has is keeping Brian Dable. That's what I'm saying.
All you got to do is look at the Giant coaches you just said. Look at the Giant coaches hired after Tom Coughlin. You forgot about that loser that was the
Joe
Green Bay
Judge.
offensive. No, the Green Bay offensive coordinator came in. I forget what his name was. We fired him in 2 years. We actually had a pretty good season with him. Tail end of Eli.
McAdoo.
Schumer.
Yeah. McAdoo and Schumer both stink. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can do you. Yeah.
Can you hear? Okay. Okay. Um,
That's an embarrassment. Like you said before, we're the Giants. We're the Giants, and these are the coaches we expect to lead our organization. That's freaking embarrassing.
Exactly. I think it all falls back to Mara. It all falls back to him. Because let me ask you this: when Jackson Dart comes out and wins 3 games against the worst, most hard schedule in the NFL, and Brian Dable is fired, you're gonna sit here and tell me Jackson Dart, who isn't a first round prospect, isn't even that great of a prospect, you're gonna tell me he's gonna be able to overcome the adversity of instability and awful offensive coordinators and coaches? Hell no. It's a never ending cycle.
I'm
It's a
going to
never
take it
ending
quickly
cycle.
back. I'll take it quickly back to the history of the Giants. The owner never really played a big part in decisions. So that's why I don't want to blame the Maras. Like, the Giants have always hired really, I'm talking generationally good GMs, whether it's George Young, whether it's Ernie Accorsi. Remember those guys? Those guys led the organization. Ernie Accorsi is the guy that figured out how to get Eli Manning. So, I mean, like, I don't want to put pin on showing, but it's like used. I mean, we had so many of those. We had Reese in there. Reese was our GM for years. He sucked. Like, I always look at, you got to get one of these great GMs. Like, you look at San Fran, right? San Fran's run by John Lynch, great safety. He's their GM. He runs everything there. That's why that team is so freaking good. Like, so I don't blame the owners as much because I think the Maras, they're kind of that old school. We're gonna hire the right people, and we're gonna let people do their jobs. I go back to the GMs, and listen, we did that stupid package deal. I mean, it looked good at the time because everybody was like, "Hey, how are you gonna be like Buffalo?" But we did the old package deal with Schoen and Judge, which just sucks because these guys have kind of been tied by the hip. It's like, oh, they came in together, they got to go out together. But I go back to, if I'm going to do this right, I'm going to find out who the Rams GM is or who the San Fran GM is. So these guys are absolutely great at their jobs.
Right? It's who you hire from. You
Yes.
hire from teams like the Rams, like the 49ers. You don't hire from teams like the Broncos right now, or the Dolphins. You hire from the right teams. You don't hire the special teams coordinator to be your head coach. You don't bring in Jerry Reese, who's a fool. And look, the Bills roster is not that good. You don't go after general managers that don't have continuously excellent rosters and
Dude,
can
you said
draft
it
well.
best. People don't realize that. The Bills' roster's not that good. Josh Allen is absolutely a monster. He makes literally third receivers look like star receivers.
Exactly.
I'll go back
Exactly.
to, you ever hear of Gabe Davis? Never heard
Nope.
of him again, did you? Like,
Never heard of him again.
I'll give you like 4 or 5 players, dude, that have hit there, were stars, and then they leave. Hey, how's Stephon Diggs doing after he left there? Doing great, isn't he?
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. All right, I got to get out of here, Ozone, but it's been a pleasure. Hopefully our Giants will win today. We'll be texting about it. Jackson Dart makes his debut in the NFL.
Dude, hold
Let's
your breath.
go.
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock is the biggest time a Giant fan has had in the past 5, 6 years. 1 o'clock today. Go get him, kid. Later, buddy.